Inside China's marriage and prostitution rings. A woman screams. A wedding photo falls to the ground, glass shattering. She thought she was marrying the man of her dreams. But what she walked into was a living nightmare. A trap designed by a global criminal machine. This is not just about love. It is about lies, trafficking, corruption, and one of the most chilling operations in modern crime: the Chinese marriage and prostitution rings. Imagine, you are a young woman, full of dreams and hope. You receive a proposal from a man who promises you everything, the life you could only dream of. His wealth and power will transform your family's future forever. He's handsome, kind, and seemingly perfect. But what if I told you that man is a lie? A puppet? What if I told you that the world you were promised is not a dream? It's a nightmare. The man you trusted is not your partner, but your captor. This is the truth that countless women across Southeast Asia will never escape. They were lured into the illusion of marriage, but what they stepped into was a trap, and their story is one of the darkest secrets in modern human trafficking. The cruel, profitable system that is China's marriage and prostitution rings. Title: fades into the night. Slow, eerie music begins. The bait, false promises of love. It begins innocently. In the poorest corners of Southeast Asia, poverty shapes everything. A young woman raised in a small village in Cambodia, Vietnam, or Myanmar is offered a chance at something beyond her reach: a marriage proposal from a man in China. Her family lives in a dilapidated home where the roof leaks in the rainy season and the walls crack under the weight of years of neglect. They cannot afford school fees. The father struggles to make enough to feed them, while the mother grows ill with a sickness the family cannot treat. Then, an unexpected offer arrives. A wealthy man from China wishes to marry the daughter. His proposal is generous. His dowry promised more money than the family could ever hope to make in a lifetime. The girl, a naive teenager full of dreams, sees this as a ticket out of hardship. She can lift her family from poverty. She can have a life beyond the confines of her village. She's heard rumors of rich foreigners and their desire for brides. She imagines herself in a cozy apartment in a bustling city, perhaps with a warm cup of coffee and a successful career. But what she doesn't know is that the groom is a ghost. He is just a face, a staged photo, a lie carefully manufactured to lure her and her family in. This man is either an actor, a recruiter, or simply someone taking part in an elaborate scam. The real deal has already been made. Between traffickers, brokers, and criminals who see her only as a commodity. A distant relative perhaps brings news of the proposal. The family is initially hesitant, but is soon convinced by the glimmer of possibility. The paperwork is completed. Marriage licenses are faked, consent forms forged, and soon the girl's name is signed on the dotted line. Once everything is set, a van arrives. The girl, wearing her finest dress, boards it. She's handed a bouquet. She's told she's a bride, to be taken to her new life. But the van drives off in the wrong direction, and with each passing mile, she's no longer a hopeful daughter. She's a pawn in a growing global network of human trafficking. The export, trafficked across borders. The path is cruel and hidden. Once the girl leaves her village, she enters a world of secrecy and deception. The traffickers use various methods to smuggle women across borders, sometimes by riverboats, sometimes hidden in truck compartments, or sedated in cramped cargo crates. The journey could take days or weeks. They move by back roads, crossing borders where they know there's little oversight. The girls may still believe they are on their way to a better life, to a husband in China who is waiting to meet them. The traffickers keep up the charade, even offering reassurances that they will be well taken care of. But as the border crosses into China, that fantasy begins to fade. Once they arrive in the remote provinces of China, it's as though they've entered a new world. Rural areas where the gender imbalance due to China's one-child policy has left millions of men unable to find wives. Here, a new market has emerged, one where women are commodities, priced, bargained for, and traded. These women are told, They will have to wait for their future husbands, that they are to prepare for their new lives. But what they don't know is that they have already been sold again. The man who bought them might have never wanted a wife at all. He wanted a product to sell in another transaction. He could be the husband who's only interested in his profit. The trap. Marriage turns into prison. What follows is not a marriage. When these women arrive at their new homes, the doors of their future are slammed shut. Their passports are taken. Their phones are confiscated. They are kept isolated, far from their families and the lives they once knew. The promise of a wedding night, a dream of love and security, quickly turns into something darker. Some are raped on the first night. Others face beatings or threats of violence when they refuse to comply. For many, the husband they thought they had married is more like a warden than a partner. But worse still, for many of these women, the nightmare doesn't end there. The husbands who purchased them often don't want them for marriage. They want them for profit. Soon after arriving, the women are sold again, but this time it's not for a man's bedroom. It's for the sex trade. Many of them are trafficked into brothels disguised as karaoke bars or massage parlors. They're told they'll have to entertain guests, sing songs, or give massages. But the moment they step inside, they're locked into the darkest corner of the world, forced prostitution. The system, how the network works. Behind this operation is a well-oiled machine. The marriage rings are not a single operation. They are part of a global network that spans multiple countries and continents. Every step is carefully orchestrated by brokers, recruiters, traffickers, and buyers. Recruiters. These are the ones who find the girls. They often operate in poor rural communities, promising a better life and a future. They target families desperate for money. Middlemen. These are the individuals who arrange the marriages. They might be fake marriage agencies or even corrupt officials who can forge documents. Traffickers. These individuals manage the transportation. They are responsible for moving women across borders and into China. They often take advantage of the lack of oversight and bribe authorities to look the other way. Buyers. These are the ones who purchase the women. They could be farmers in rural China who have been unable to find a local bride due to the gender imbalance. They could also be criminals running brothels that target foreign women for prostitution. Enforcers. These individuals make sure the women stay silent and obey. They control the women's access to the outside world, enforce the rules, and keep the women in line through fear. The network has expanded rapidly over the years. In fact, some areas of China rely on this system so heavily that foreign brides have become an essential commodity in these regions. The operation is highly profitable. International complicity. What makes this even worse? The complicity of those in power. This system does not function in isolation. It thrives because of corruption, from local police to international embassies. In many cases, border officials and local police are bribed to ignore the trafficking happening right in front of them. Officials turn a blind eye to the passage of women across borders. Others go even further, helping to forge documents and providing the necessary paperwork for the marriage process to seem legitimate. When women manage to escape, often after months or even years of captivity, they run to the authorities for help. But instead of receiving aid, they are sent back to their captors. In some cases, they are treated as criminals for fleeing their husbands. Many are sent straight back into the hands of their abusers. In 2019 alone, nearly 1,000 women were rescued from Chinese brothels. But even as global pressure mounted, thousands more continued to remain missing, unaccounted for. Shocking cases, real lives, shattered by this system. In 2018, a bride auction took place in Myanmar, where over 150 girls were sold at a bride market in Yunnan, China. Girls as young as 13 were auctioned off. The price tags ranged from $3,000 to $13,000, and those who weren't bought immediately were forced into forced labor. In 2019, over 900 Pakistani Christian girls were tricked into marriage proposals. They were lured with promises of love and a better future, only to end up in forced prostitution. Local priests, brokers, and even political figures were involved in this scam. Some managed to escape, but they were met with threats, bribery, and even disappearance when they spoke out. The women who fought back. Some voices rise above the silence. Not all women have stayed silent. Lynn, a 22-year-old from Vietnam, managed to escape after months of captivity. She fled barefoot, running for miles to a police station. Her testimony exposed the full network of traffickers, naming the safe houses, smugglers, and buyers. Her courage led to the rescue of 47 girls. But her bravery also put a price on her head. She is in hiding now, but her voice still echoes. Where it ends. The truth is chilling. The market is not disappearing. It is evolving. Women are still being trafficked, still being sold into marriage, and then prostitution. The demand for women in rural China, particularly from Southeast Asia, remains as strong as ever. New routes, new systems, new technologies allow traffickers to operate underground, using encrypted apps and fake dating sites, and the women continue to vanish.
The case may be closed, but criminology never sleeps. Like and subscribe or join Criminology and step deeper into the dark with us.